amazing way for you. In your son's name we pray. Amen.
Mr. Bull.
Join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for being here tonight. First on our agenda is an update on the new clerk's building in Smyrna. I'm sorry, we need to approve the minutes from the November meeting.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any additions or deletions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Now we have an update on the clerk's building in Smyrna.
Well, basically, it's all good news. It's progressing on. Ms. Lynch and I met with the person that's doing the designing of those furnishings, and we've got all of that basically ordered. Furniture and stuff is going in there. Brian and the people in our technology department have got everything lined up for, pulling all the cable and stuff for the computers and all of that, and the security. So, taking care of all those loose ends, and they started laying brick. I don't know, last week. I don't know how much it's been a little bit cold. They can't lay when it's below freezing, but they're laying when it's not freezing. They are laying. So I don't know how much they got up, but they have started. So, and they've got the base down on the parking and what have you. We are going to add a few spaces. We can only get 5 more spaces there, but we will do that at the back southwest part of that building, paving area there. There are no particular problems that they have told me about so we just keep on pressing forward. It's going to be a tight squeeze probably to finish by March 1st, but we'll just have to see how that goes. And you may can add something. You may have been by there. I hadn't been by there since the first several days ago when we looked at those bricks. So.
And the brick did come in, that was the right color and all that.
Yeah.
They're proceeding.
Yes, sir.
Anyone have any questions? Anything to add? Thought I'd bring up, it may be something we want to do or not, but I was over there the other day and was thinking it would be good to have a rest picnic type area out there maybe under the big tree, like across the way from the drive up.
I don't remember exactly where that tree is. Is the tree west of the building, or?
It's to the right of the building if you're facing the front.
Facing the very front of it. That's out there. That's on
almost the tennis court. Old tennis court. There's a huge tree there that would be good to put at least one table under it, maybe.
But we could do a table, and that wouldn't be too much. We could do that independent of this. Probably not something you want to do within the construction project itself. Just do it as a matter of courtesy there for the employees or what have you to go out there and sit down at lunchtime or something. If it's that close, I haven't paid that much.
Yeah, it's just across the pavement there. Thought the admissions people could possibly use it too.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up something I brought up quite a while ago. We have an ATM at our clerk's building in Murfreesboro here now. That was put in. We never did bid it out or anything or see if any other banks wanted to participate. It was just one of those things that was done. And I'd suggested maybe if we could get some information, because it's been over there for several years, so they should have a track record now to give someone some information or give us information of how active that unit is over there as far as use, and give us an idea of how to bid it out. I think it's only fair to, anytime you have something like that, offer it to other businesses. And it may be that nobody else wants to do it, but thought it would be fair if we did do that. And also I thought maybe we'd want to, I'll just throw it out here for discussion. Do we want to put an ATM in the Smyrna office? Since it's not finished now, I don't know if they would have to run another electric outlet or whatever, but it'd be a good time to do it while they're in the process rather than to wait. So just whatever your view is, Mr. Mayor.
Well, I mean, I think your first suggestion that we need to find out from the clerk if they really are finding this really beneficial, and if they are, I'm sure that they would want to do it. And she just hasn't mentioned that to me. I think we need to get a little feedback to see if that's working and is providing a service that's reasonable and accommodating. If so, then certainly why not do it? I would be happy to talk to her about that even tomorrow and see what her thoughts are and see if she. I haven't asked her and she hasn't mentioned it. She may already be on it.
Yes.
Seemed like we asked for some bids and there was no bids or something, and there was some kind of a deal worked out with the one we have.
We never asked for bids. I asked for information and for that to be done, but it never did come back. So I thought I'd bring it up again because it was quite a while ago that we discussed it. Anyone have any input on that? Well, I wanted to bring up value engineering on projects that we've had in the past and what we'll have in the future, because I know quite often we had projects that someone would end up value engineering something out, and it seemed like a good thing, and then before we moved in or after we moved in, we realized, hey, that should have been in there. And I don't know, I was bringing it up because I don't really know what to do to stop that other than another hand in the process, I guess, of reporting, or who the construction companies or engineers or whoever's value engineering report to. Several times we've had to go back in and add things that have been value engineered out.
Well, most of this should normally take place, during the bidding process, and after we have bid a project. Sometimes we find, the county has probably found that it didn't have enough dollars, or thought it didn't have enough dollars to fund that particular project, so then they find things within the project that can be changed or modified, and that's what you're describing as value engineering, changing them to a lower cost process. And at that point in time, one does have to evaluate, is the reduction in price worth what you're gaining by savings of dollars, and maybe losing something in functionality or dependability or otherwise. That's an iterative process that just takes judgment on the part. Now, that normally, once you take a bid and don't accept the bid and start iterating on it, you would think that would come back through here for review,
right,
for you to determine, if you really want to, which ones of these items do you want to accept and which ones do you not want to accept, if you have a list of those things that have been presented by the architect. So,
right. That's what I had in mind also, is it coming back to maybe a committee.
Well,
but
this would be the only
past.
committee it should come back to, and it should come back here if you're making any substantial changes to the basic design of the project.
Right. 'Cause I know we've had some in the past that we found out later that, on the front end, we've saved all this money on value engineering, and then we find out what it is, and the department heads or the people move into the building and they say, hey, we've got to have this to function, so then we spend the money to put it back in. But it's better just to not value engineer it out if we really need it. That was my point, that somehow we needed to come back to committee, whether it be this committee or another committee.
But this is the only committee for it to come back to accept if it's a project being handled by the PBA.
That's
The
possible.
PBA would be working with whatever department it is for which they're doing the project. Like the Ag Center was, the Conservation and Recreation Board, you might say, was iterating with the architect and with the PBA on whatever, quote, value engineering they were doing. They did do some on that project. Now, the Correction Work Center, there was, after we took bids, I mean, the value engineering there was done in the design of the project.
Right.
And that design was approved by the, I suppose that was done before I was your property management, and we took bids, and they were pretty much, we didn't have to value engineer. We were well within budget, so we built it.
That's the last, I mean, Anthony, that's the last project I remember is the ag part that there was things taken out or cut out of that project to get us within. And I think if you remember 3/4 of the way through that, we got the, after we even had bushes planted, Murfreesboro come back and we had to take bushes out and put specific ones in that they were requesting that took dollars from other places because we had that set dollar amount that we had to stay under. And I know the mayor took place in a lot of those, and
Well, we had
that was
to-
a hard time staying under that number.
Well, we had to increase the budget, and then we had a hard time staying
Yeah.
under the number even then, but
Yeah.
they worked on that repeatedly over a period of months. The conservation people did there with the PBA. And we haven't really had to value engineer anything basically in this clerk's building. I mean, it was pretty much, we took bids and they were under our budget number.
Right. Seems like the building's very well engineered.
Okay.
Any other discussion on that?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if you're through with your list, I've got a suggestion for us. So, are you finished with what you
Yes,
had
sir.
on?
Yes.
Okay. This is a suggestion, Mayor, and I won't be around next year, so I don't want to create a lot of extra work for somebody, but this is property management. We ought to have an annual report on every county building, not school buildings, because we get on how efficient they are on their energy, maintenance, upkeep, problems they're having, so that we can take a look at these buildings and see if there's any way we can control the utility bills a little bit better, if we can anticipate major components that need to be replaced in the building. I know the mayor looks at these things some during the year, but this committee ought to be in the habit of getting an annual report from somebody so that we can look at different buildings, and we've got new ones now, and we've got some like the Goldstein building that have been around forever, and then we've had trouble occasionally across the street with the Justice building with their heating and air. So I think we need a comprehensive report on what this is costing us and where they're having to spend a lot of their maintenance time, because maintenance time is money, and it would behoove us, I think, to see that and see where we can make improvements, or if we're doing extremely well, the public needs to know that we're managing these buildings well. So I just throw that out as a suggestion.
I think it's a good idea. Excuse me. So,
I always like it when the suggestions met with total silence.
It's just deep.
Mr. Mayor, do you have input on that?
I think it's a
How
good
you think
idea.
we'd
We're
address
doing
it?
some of that. We've done a little bit of this. Stimulus money's been used for some energy improvements in both the court building and another building, and so yes, this is something. We do some of this, or when we work on the maintenance budget, you know, for capital improvements, for enhancements, what have you. So we could do this. It would be we got a lot of buildings. We'd have to start, and it'd be a process.
But
It'd
if you
take us a
got
while
in
to
the
really
habit
get
of it, whoever's responsible for it, if you got in the habit of it, they would know that every January, every February, that report has to be submitted, and they can be putting it together during the year as we go along. First time may cause them
Yeah,
a
it'll be
problem,
more
but
difficult the first
once you
time.
set up things, knowing that that's got to be presented, it's a suggestion on it.
Okay.
And Mayor, sorry, Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Sure.
You know what question I'm going to probably ask about.
We drew those plans in compliance with their request, and they're in their hands.
Okay, for a second review, I guess?
Yeah, what, second, third, whatever it is.
Okay. Before I leave the commission, I would like to complete one project. That's my project I'd like to complete. right there.
Okay.
That parking lot paved.
You better run.
We did have one other thing on here tonight, the Fallen Firefighters Memorial. But I spoke to Gary Farley earlier today, and he was trying to get the information together, but didn't know if he would or not. And he let me know that if he wasn't here, then that just meant he didn't get the information in time. So we'll address that at our next month's meeting. Anything else to come before this committee? Just like to take this time to wish everyone here and everyone watching tonight a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And praying for everything to be better in the new year. We stand adjourned.